right, welcome everybody. Thank you for making the time. Quite a few people in today, so that's good to see. As is now the format, I'll take you through some of the general charts and the N2 setups, after which Ash will take you through the Earth and Sky setups, his spin on it, his flavor on the Earth and Sky setup. So let's kick right off. Share my screen. All right, so let's start with the news and the calendar. Let's see if we can build a picture of what we are looking for and what we could potentially look for. All right, so if somebody could just confirm they can see my screen. Just don't waste everybody's time. Thank you, Philip. All right, so starting with the news, this is the news tab in Forex Factory. I think most of you do use Forex Factory. And just skimming through the news headlines, you can see inflation news this morning from Europe, not great for Europe. You guys can go read this in detail for yourselves. Basically, the economy is contracting, leading to stagflation, downturns, contracts. You can see you don't need to do too much work to see that this is not great. If we go through to the calendar for the week, I've just applied a little filter. So you guys can do this, and just for the red flag news, just for purposes of this discussion, you can see this morning, this is GMT +2, all the inflation news from Europe, France and Germany, the two big economies from Europe, now that the UK is obviously out, especially the German news. You can see not lower than expected, or slightly higher with the PMI, so the production inflation, but pretty much as forecast. So not a great impetus or not a great improvement. For the rest of the week, pretty quiet. We've got nothing on Wednesday. Thursday, there's a little preliminary GDP, quote unquote, for the US that could have a little bit of an influence. It is on tap, so it is available already. So we don't expect too many deviations from this, but no guarantees in Forex, guys. So keep an eye on this one. And then Friday, shouldn't be trading. See some New Zealand RBNZ, Reserve Bank of New Zealand news. We've got some inflation news from the States, and then Fed Powell, so he's the head of the Fed. So basically the US Reserve Bank speaks. But again, this is Friday afternoon at 4 my time. Most of you definitely should not be trading and enjoying a cold beer. All right, let's have a look at some of the main charts. I'm going to start with the JXY. So this is simply the Dixie, but the Japanese version. So the Japanese yen versus a basket of other currencies, heavily weighted towards the dollar. Most things in Forex weighted towards the dollar. It is the big boy. So if we just zoom out a little bit, you can see really, really, really low. Obviously, with the yen prices we've seen in the last couple of months corresponding to this chart. So big move down. We had a little bit of a rally up, and it looks like we're going to move lower. So if you see this, obviously, don't be in a rush to long any yens. Still very, very bearish. Right, and the dollar counterpart, the Dixie, I was saying in my weekend analysis 2 weeks ago, before these two big candles, this is a weekly chart. Be very careful of this pullback. This does not mean the chart is bearish all of a sudden. Still very, very bullish. And what do we get? A rally back up to a big area of previous support and resistance. If we look back, 109,600, 109,580. If we look back there, big area. So expecting the Dixie to struggle in this area. If we get a break above, which would be my bias at this stage, you can see a lot of what we call air above this. So what that means is that there are no obvious areas of support and resistance. This 112.80 may be a little bit, but you can see a lot of space for it to move up unhindered. So watch out for that, expecting further dollar strength. All right, so let's look at the S&P 500, so the biggest companies in the States. Nice bounce off the 200, pulled back into the 55. This again is a weekly, and now struggling at that 55, still very, very bearish. We can do a simple channel line like this. You can see, don't expect this to rally much higher personally. Expect it to retest the 200. Good sign that we are still very much risk off. All right, let's look at the VIX. So the fear or uncertainty index. As I always say, you can use this as a barometer for the more riskier asset classes, especially the likes of crypto, which is super risky on the higher end of the risk spectrum. And you can see the higher this turns up, the more volatile, the more risk off we are perceived to be. So if we look at this, and then we look at something like Bitcoin, I'll come back to that, you can see inversely correlated. So put it very, very simply, people are scared, this goes up. Anything that's risky goes down because people are perceivably scared. All right, so looking at this, again, bullish, moving along there. Again, this is a weekly chart, gives me a better idea of the higher time frame picture, the global picture. So bullish. Let's look at gold. Gold bouncing off the 200. Again, guys, I'm reminding you that this is a weekly chart, so it's a strong image or very important kind of areas you can identify. And you can see this area there, 1690, bouncing off repeatedly, bouncing off repeatedly, bouncing off repeatedly, and happened again, exactly how you would read a forex chart, expecting it to struggle there at the 200, big area of support and resistance. Gold still not acting as you would really expect it to in these times, but still it has moved up, struggling there. If we see it struggle there again, you could see a higher move up for gold. If it breaks this double top, so there we go, 1, 2 top and breaks above there, I think we could be in for a serious gold rally, in my personal opinion. Right, let's look at oil. Still very, very bullish. War rages on. As long as the war rages on in Ukraine, supply would be hampered or affected badly, and you can see very, very bullish. Got a bit of a pullback. Doesn't mean it's bearish, guys. Struggling at this area, at this channel line, you could see this tick up way higher. Of course, if the global picture changes and it breaks below, you could expect a serious plummet in the price of oil. Oil, major player, major requirement for basically every country in the world. And as I always tell my students, remember something like the yen, Japan doesn't have any oil, so they need to import all their oil. How do they do that? They need to buy dollars. What happens if Japan needs a bunch of dollars to buy oil? You see the yen sink and you see the dollar rise. Okay. Then just the two big boys of the crypto world. We briefly looked at this earlier. You can see very, very bearish. It is struggling at this area, this it's 2,200, you could say 20,000 level. Struggling there. You can see big area of previous support and resistance. Expecting this to challenge this again and even dip lower. Nothing in the world's telling me that crypto is ready for a rally. There is some news, those of you who follow the crypto news, about the Ethereum merge. I think this rally was based on that. So we'll see, very, very bearish still. And then this is Ethereum, very, very similar to Bitcoin, struggling at this area. This was the 860, 870 area, big area of previous support. You can see there how this broke through, consolidated, touch there. So big kind of area, this whole kind of area between 1500 and 900. Struggling there, bouncing off the 200. Could see a little bit higher move for Ethereum, but with crypto, we're moving away from forex now, guys. But if Bitcoin's going lower, unlikely that anything else is going to go really, really higher. All right, I'm going to move to the M2 charts. Any questions on these more general charts we've just had a look at? All right, if there's nothing, let's have a look at the M2 setups. All right, so I'm going to go through my idea. Sorry, guys, just a quick yay if you can see my chart. Just going to make sure everybody's awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, so I'm going through my ideas. It's a little bit easier for me because I see it the way I see it, as opposed to going through marks, but I suspect it will be really, really similar. So Euro USD, it was yesterday where we saw the big move, breaking parity, and it looks like we might actually stick below parity. So As of this moment, the US dollar now worth more than the euro, which is obviously huge. So tricky one at this stage. Be careful just to pile on and try and short it. Obviously, no reasons for the stop. What I'm looking for is maybe a pullback to retest the 1.02800. It's the closest thing I can see to an area for a short. Got the 55, I've got a channel line, really nice little channel line there. Yeah, channel line 55. If we actually fib this move now, you could see, sorry, this red is not great, 78.6 as well. So that could be interesting. I always say if there's only a 55, I prefer going down to the 4 hour, but that is an interesting area. A grade way back, 1.07. I do not expect us to see this anytime soon. USD Swissy, I'm hoping some of you, it was a bit innocuous post from myself a few days ago. We got a little break, pullback, and now we've got a 200 pip rally from this big area, 0.94800. I think we've been calling this area for months now. So that was the move, gets back to 94,800. Look too long. I do expect this to go higher now. On the 4 hour, you could look at this 96,500, 96,460 area. See if you can find reasons for the stop and take it higher. Everything I've just shown you on the Ash, sorry guys, Ash is saying there's a trend line. Ash, I'm presuming you mean that. You mean that, Ash? Also got this. So you could see this as a triangle breakout. So essentially the same idea. Right, I'm with you, Ash. Okay, yeah, so what is this? This is a wedge or a triangle. So how you typically play this is a break out of the triangle. Let's look at this. This pull back to this area where it broke out, and then to take it longer, I would obviously not short it at this stage. So just again, so you can see it's coming together. So we call this a wedge or descending triangle even. The theory goes break out of the wedge, pulls back to retest where it broke out, and you could potentially take it higher. Pound USD, very similar to the Euro USD. I had this channel line running as well. It broke out. I was telling you guys, be careful. It likes to retest where it broke out from. Tried, and now it's broken back in. Same concept as the Euro, guys. I'd look at 21,500 to a short, but this does not look like it's going to get any stronger. A grade 1.27500. So all the dollar pairs, guys, be very careful trying to go against dollar strength. There is a ton of pressure against you. Aussie USD, this could be interesting on, again, for me on the smaller time frames, broke out of this big area, this 0.7, big round psychological number, massive area. This little rectangle, orange rectangle I've got there. So we had the break. If we do get a pullback into the 707, maybe even a little bit lower, might wick up to 07, so be careful of that. 69,650, 69,700, anything in this area, pulls back and then look to take it shorter. Way better probability to wait for good setups where you can go with dollar strength. A grade, 71200, way up there. Again, I highly doubt in the foreseeable future. New Zealand USD symmetrical to the Aussie USD, highly correlated to the Aussie and New Zealand economy. Same idea, 0.63. So looking, we got this breakout of this big area. You can see if you look to the left, consolidation, try to break through, big area, looking for the pullback, then to short it. Way better idea than to go against dollar strength. I'm going to emphasize it today. Ton of US breaking parity with Euro is massive. USD Yen, not interested in this one this stage, guys. This is all over the show. If you, on the smaller time frames, 1, 3, 4, 500-ish to long. Otherwise, 1 to 6, 100 miles away. That's the kind of area you're looking for to long. Otherwise, this is insanely far away. 114,650, 2,300 pips away. So leave this alone, guys. USD CAD, we've got a nice break out of this 128,500, which was the massive area. Just zoom in a little bit there. You can see big area, multiple reasons for the stop. If we do get anything in this area again, so pull back into this 28,500 area, you can look too long. Otherwise, if it does break lower, 125,400, again, just based on everything we've discussed, highly unlikely. You can see there, if we zoom out, big area of previous support and resistance. At this stage, though, not expecting this to go that deep. All right, let's look at some of the crosses. Euro pound. Okay, this is a pretty decent setup, I think. Break, I think Mark was saying in his weekend analysis, this was this kind of area that it needed to make its mind up. You've got to break below. Look at 84600 up to about the 8500 area. What we're looking for is a pullback in. Got a 55, 200, another 55, big area. And look to take it lower. This is a 50. Yeah, you could easily get 2 to 1 there. Not bad. If you go to the smaller time frames, you can refine this a little bit, but the idea is solid. So breakout, pull back, and take it lower. If we look a lot of air underneath this, if it does break lower. Aussie CAD. This one also not too bad. Try to break through this big area of the 55, 0.89700. So if we look to the left, you can see they're big. Especially there, try to break through, big moves away. Over there, support and resistance. Try to break through again, couldn't. So from this area, I prefer this on the 4 hour. Got a 55, this big number. Fib's not going to help us there, I don't think. Help us for the A grade, but interesting to short from this area. I prefer this on the shorter time frame, otherwise A grade. 0.91, big area. You can see there again, that's a massive area if it does get back up there. That's the Aussie CAD. Careful, the Aussie CAD and the Euro US CAD, very similar setups. Aussie New Zealand, I'm looking at this on the 4 hour chart. What I'm looking for, 1.10880. So looking for price to come back in. Multiple reasons for the stop, 30, 40, and then of course for 120. What I keep on looking for is the short from this 112 counter trend trade. But if we look to the left, let's go to the daily to look to the left. This is that big area I keep on showing you guys. See the big area. EuroCAD 1.37600 for short, miles away. Got a big area of previous support, but absolutely no reasons for the stop. So only looking at that kind of A grade area. Okay, New Zealand yen. This is on the 4 hour, guys. Be careful with the yens. They are highly correlated, meaning they all move together. This is a nice setup. I like these kind of tight range setups. So you can see they're really tight range, a lot of wicks. So people buying and selling really quickly. You can almost see that they're scalping. So what you're looking for is either a big break above this area or a big break below this area. You can see you've got multiple reasons for the stop, whichever way it goes. If it breaks higher, looking for a pullback, and then a move higher. You've got 55, you've got 200, another 55, and exactly the same. Breakout below, pullback, multiple reasons for the stop, and you're looking to take it lower. So a lot of ideas. This is on the 4 hour though. Pound yen, again, careful having more than 1 yen open, long at 160, whole psychological number. You can see there to the pip, tries to break through, almost gets there. That's almost to the pip, big area. Looking to long it from this area there. So it's 300 pips, 100 for 300 potentially. And you get your 3 to 1. Euro yen, again, you can see they all look very similar, guys. So big area of previous support and resistance, 255, and you're looking to take it back up. First take profit at this 55. Pound yen, a little bit more space. I prefer that setup, but very similar. Now I think the last one for me is the pound Swissy. on the smaller time frames, 116, 450, 55, big area of previous support and resistance. The greatest, otherwise A grade, 1.21 for a short. Just to show you guys, if I zoom in a little bit, same kind of idea as with the previous setup I showed you guys at the New Zealand yen. So you can see this tight range. So with the pound Swiss, you can see a tight range. And what you get is a break out of the range, retest the range, and then you get the move down. So this is what you're looking for there. You need to break either up or down, retesting the range, and then making the move. You can see there again, tight range, breakout, pullback, and then moving on. I think that's me for the day. Yeah, pound Aussie, absolutely nothing I can really see. Bit of a channel, has broken, tries to break out of the channel. So again, pound Aussie, you could look at 7.4. If we just round this up. For a short, you've got 55 channel line, looking forward to come back in and then taking it lower. Not the greatest setup for me, but that is definitely an idea. All right, those are my setups for the week, guys. Any questions, any other chart you want me to look at? You put EMAs on the trading view. Yeah, I can quickly show you guys. Sorry, Ash, let me quickly show the guys and then you can take over. So I just need to share that screen. All right, so on trading view, under the indicators tab, you simply type in what you're looking for. So there are millions of indicators. So what I do is we just go exponential moving average pops up. It should be first, at least in the top 5, 10. So you simply click on this one and then you'll see it pops. All your indicators that are currently on your chart are over there. If you have them on, you go to the settings and you can see the length. I just made this 200. It's a 200 EMA. The style, I've just changed this color to green. That corresponds to my M2 charts, and exactly the same there. Made it blue, and I made the input 55, and they should pop on immediately. If you click on the little eye icon, you can see they disappear, and then you can put them back on as you wish. Simple. Does that answer your question, Phil? And then obviously, I think you guys have seen this little icon there pop up. You've got trend lines, rays, horizontal lines, etc., etc. And I just use that to mark up my charts. All right, Ash, all yours.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm going to share my screen and let me know when you can see it. Yes, says Udo. Udo, I'll go answer your question first that you had asked in the forum. So you were talking about the euro pound for a short, and basically Thinus just went over it. But I just wanted to add that this morning, as we know, the manufacturing news came out bad for both Europe and the pound. So as you can see here, it's 46. If it's above 50, then it's a good indicator that there's more production going on. But for the case now, we have there's stagflation going on possibly, and we just had the industrial orders expectations came below 0, so that's not good for the pound. And for the euro, as we can see, Germany and French, they are down as well. So technically, yeah, this setup could work because you can see here, there's a fib, and we can look to short it down here around 52 pips and look for a way back down. Of course, both the economies are bad at the moment, so we could see this maybe consolidating or head down. So it just depends how the majors play out. If the euro starts heading down a lot more, then you would see the euro pound work out really well. And then I showed you the New Zealand USD as well as a setup here on the 4-hour, which we could look to take around 40 odd pips and look to trade back down. So an intraday move here around 70 pips and you could look to even get 120 pips out of it. And the other one was the USD Swissy. So I was showing you the trend line here for Thinus. I think it showed a bit different on Thinus's one. It showed like a breakout, but that's just to do with the data. I think how the prices um, on different brokers, the prices tend to stop at different levels sometimes. But on mine here, I'm looking at what I'm seeing. So over here, it's stopped right at the trend line here. At the moment, it's not done a breakout yet. And based on that uh, theory, I actually took the Swissy yen, because if the USD starts dropping against the Swissy, that would mean the Swissy would get stronger. And this is the setup I took this morning, an hour ago, I think. So I took it right here near the Earth and Sky zone. My stop is only around 56 pips. So I am looking to get at least 114 pips back to these highs. So that's a trade I took for this week, the first one. And I'll go through the pairs now. So we have quite a lot of pairs for this week, which are quite nice. So the majors, all of them, we need big pullbacks. So we're looking around hundreds of pips. So you can see here 200 pips at least for the pound USD. So trend is strong downwards, and we have a region here between 119,300 and 1.2220. So I would look to take this anywhere around here. For me, it's a bit risky to take it here, because you can see here, this is a supply and demand zone. And last time when it broke out below 120, price came back up again to around here and then dropped again. So my thinking over here is it's probably better off to take it near the 61.8 fib, and you're looking around 80 pip stop here for a potential 260 pip gain. So be a bit conservative with this one, I would say, with your entry. Go on the shorter time frames when price comes near to this area, but I would prefer taking it closer up to this region here, so you just get a better stop. So if you try to be a bit patient, wait for it to come up here, and possibly it comes high, then probably take it. A bit risky here to take it, because if price pushes up, then you might likely get taken out. So that's the pound USD setup. Euro USD, as we know, broken parity again. So for the first time, it's actually broken out. Last time it stopped on the weekly above 1, but this time it has broken on the daily below 1-to-1. So now we need a pullback, and does look very attractive to take it down here, the weekly pivot. So we are looking around a 30 pip stop for 150 potential 200 pip gain. So that's a nice setup compared to the pound USD. As you can see here, good region for a short. You're looking around that 30 pips for around 150 pips over there. Then AUD USD. So I don't prefer this zone here, to be honest, for the Earth and Sky. I put an arrow down here because I actually prefer it down here, because it just lines up with my M2 strategy. So I would prefer to take it down here at the weekly pivot. So I'm looking around a 30 pip stop, and you're getting around a good 90 pips over here. So your 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Yeah. So on my trading view, I was just going to show you that what I'm doing here is I basically use trading view just to do my technical analysis. It's just better for me to chart it out. So at the moment here, I have a line on the 1 hour, and my plan is if it breaks this 1 hour line here, the support, breaks it and then does a pullback, I'm gonna take the short on this one, because there is a good risk reward here. So you could look for around a 35 pip stop and potential. So if I go on the 4 hour, you could look to trade this back down to this region here. So that's around 60 pips. So again, not a lot, but for intraday, that's quite good. You could look to even take it back down here to around 100 pips. But the first profit target would be down here, around 60 odd pips. So that's the setup I'm waiting on. It's not broken it on the 1 hour. So I'll be waiting for that. Let's see what happens in the next few hours. Yeah, that's the AUD setup down there. I would look to take. So that's for the short, and an Earth and Sky looking for it at slightly higher down here if it heads up. New Zealand USD is quite similar. So this one does line up with my 4 hour I showed you on the M2, which I shared in the forum. So prefer the region up here where all the moving averages are, weekly pivot. The fib is a bit higher up here. And with the dollar strength going on at the moment, I would prefer to take it down here. So around 30 pips for 100 pip gain. Quite similar to the AUD USD. Then we have the pound CAD. So again, the region here is 1.54590 or 600. And you don't need a big stop on this one, around 47 odd pips, and looking for around 180 pip gain. So nice region there. If I look to the back, it does look like a good region. So supply and demand zone here, as you can see. So yeah, that's on the pound CAD. Then we have the pound Swissy again over here. So a good region for a short would be down here, 35 pip stop. And you have the weekly pivot here for a couple of them that's coming in the way. But if it does break that, you could get around 110 pips out of this. So that's a nice move as well. Again, be conservative with your entries. Just be patient. Don't have the fear of missing it out, because as you can see here, we have around 9 pairs, I believe, this week. So make your mind up about which one you're comfortable trading with, because you have quite similar, these 4 pairs here, they're all correlated. So look at the one you're more comfortable taking. Of course, don't take all of them together, because again, correlation. So you will be taking around the same risk, taking all of the 4 pairs together. So maybe choose one of them, or if you want to take 2, then half the risk, so that you're just not putting yourself in a position where if the trade goes sideways, then you're not losing a lot of money. So pound Swissy was the one I just went through. Then these were all the shorts. And then on the longs, we have the USD yen. So quite a good strong week it did last week. Now we're looking for a pullback around 135, 133 and 134, 145. So it does make a good region here. So you're looking for a stop around 40 odd pips. If you're looking at the weekly pivot, then it's a bit of a big stop around 60, 70 odd pips, and you're looking to trade it back up. However, I'm just not really confident with the USD yen, just because of how volatile it has been in the past few weeks. As you can see, it's just moving up and then down, up, down. So there's no real direction at the moment, but it has been moving quite a lot. Usually this pair moves around 60 odd pips, but this year it has been doing quite a lot on the pip side. So just be careful with this one. That's all I would say. But if you're looking for a long, then just I would say go around here where the zone is, so around 40 pip stop and 250 pip gain. Swiss yen, this is the setup I just showed you on why I took it. I just used the USD Swissy as my confluence, and the Earth and Sky rules meet. So I took it near the zone here at the moment, just around 20 pips in profit. I've taken it on my live account here as well. This is my live account. So as you can see here, Swiss yen, that is again 20 pips in profit. So hopefully I get around 100 pips out of this and I'll be out. Then the last one is the USD CAD. So I really do like this one. So I need a pullback again to this region here, 129, 170. So what I like about this one is the weekly pivot is lining up with the earth and sky zone, and I will look to take it down here, 45 pips, stop, and I'm looking to trade it back up to 140 pips. So that's the setup I would very likely to take. And that's all for this week I have for the earth and sky. Is there any other pair you want me to look at? If not, then yeah, take part in the forum, guys. We're active down there. You can see here, we've been posting stuff. I've been posting some stuff, and then I showed you that I saw it a bit late, but the head and shoulder pattern I saw on the US oil. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then I was calculating the move, so 16%, and then I used the indicator to measure down, and it turns out it has done the 16% move downwards. So I was showing you that there was a trend line there, and then yeah, it is at a significant point. So price of oil could move up, but that depends again on what the war situation and politics are going around. Yeah, all over to Thinus, if that's all for you guys.
Thanks, Ash. Thank you, everybody. If there are no other questions, we can sign this session off.